Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Clint. Once again, happy birthday, Clint.
I would love a margarita.
How old is Nathan?
Me too.
Yeah, I think you said 24.
He looks awful for his age.
Jesus. Well then, go ahead and break down the final game of the night. It was a good one. I honestly thought it was going to be maybe a little bit closer there. We all had Splyce winning, and of course we get that one right. Splyce do it in 3-0 fashion. Of course, the first hard point, our Den Forest chance. What was your key takeaway?
Splyce blew him out. Like everything that could go right did go right. I think if you want to kind of try and break down the details, I think Tommy, and this is a weird thing to say, is like the best fourth hill player in the game, or he's like one of them, because it seems like every single time on P4 or whatever you call it, East Road, he juggles the hill in some fashion where he earns streaks, and I think technically he ended up getting him over by a cave just for the hill time, but consistently, it seems like on that specific hill, Tommy just knows how to manipulate it almost to perfection, but that's what won Splyce the game. It was the rotation from there to cave. Well, not a full 60 because it's hard to get a full 60 on East Road, but they get the vast majority of the time on both. The rotations were on point, the kills were on point, and it was just everyone from EG, no one really stood out. Everyone kind of had a bad game. Even Enable was the first time he really had a slow performance in hardpoint. Yeah,
I think you finally just saw Splyce play up to their potential, like the slaying potential and Mad Cat, Tommy, Bance. Like, this is what you expect from these guys. This is what we've expected all the time. Again, they were in a grand final this year, and they didn't have the best performance at New Orleans, and I feel like it's just individual right now. You know, they just have to get back into that zone. I feel like this is a good first step for them.
A massive, massive win as well. Of course, we'll see how that reflects the standings in just a few moments' time, but then we head over towards the search and destroy after a 100-point club hardpoint, and, well, they didn't really take their foot off the gas pedal, Chance.
So it seems that Splyce, when you play on Forest, are really, really good, at least compared to EG. It was another situation of everything that could go right did go right, and I think there was a handful of situations, like half the rounds, EG gets first blood, and they just never clutched. Not a single time. They were consistently losing 4v3s, and I think part of that is just their situational reading isn't that great. Like, I don't know how well practiced they are on the map, but a lot of situations where, like, they have the man advantage 3 versus 2, and they got players mid-map, and then they run towards Mad Cat, who's, like, sitting on top plat just pre-aiming with an AR instead of pushing out the guys at A, and just little things like that of, like, why are you choosing to go towards, like, the dominant power positions when it's much easier to trade the kills out over by A. But, again, EG, it's not that they were bad, just under-practiced on that specific map. Seemed to be more detailed for them. I know they've had some struggles in the past on this same map throughout the past 2 weeks, and Splyce just played just about to perfection.
I'm going to be a bit harsh here. Again, I mean, besides the round 11 game 5 against EG, who has EG beaten? I mean, not many teams, you know, like they haven't looked that great. They have not looked good, and I think this is why we chose Splyce, because we knew the potential of Splyce, but EG, they've been super inconsistent. Respawns, Search and Destroy, they were solid at it, but not the best performances. A lot of round 11s, and I think you just saw the better team today. Honestly, I feel like EG just isn't quite there yet.
Completely agree. Of course, you take a look at the CTF chance. This one was definitely a lot longer.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about like the first 10 minutes first, or like the last 8? Because basically 2 separate games you could essentially break down. But I don't know. I think the saving grace for this game for EG was just apathy. He started off hot, and that was incredibly helpful. But then by the end of it, the streaks actually didn't even matter too much. But Splyce, it was just it was a gunfight thing. It was keeping EG pinned back in the base, and I think it's more of a Forest thing rather than an either specific team thing. It's just the first team that's going to make that mistake will end up giving up that flat cap, and it just turned out to be EG.
It most definitely did. Of course, you mentioned the overtime. You heard Jack and Clint talking about it. Very, very long Arden Forest, that's for sure, but ultimately it is Splyce that come out on top. A 3-0 victory, and it does wonders for them in the standings.
Yeah, it definitely does. What's actually funny is like a lot of Arden Forest, like sort of overtimes or just scores in general, typically come off of breakoffs, right?
Yeah,
so, you know, that's just one thing I was just thinking about, really talking about FaZe and some other teams. So Splyce have a great break in that second half. They get the flag out. They run it towards that cabin side. You don't typically see too often, but a great finish to Splyce, because, you know, as soon as EG gets a win on their hands, maybe the momentum shifts their way, but a great job 3-0ing them.
Obviously, the day now, of course, come to an end. I want to take a quick moment to talk about our Astro Gaming MVP potential. I think you can make a good argument for Octane, but there's one player that stands out to us all. Has to be Scraps. It just does. It has to be Scraps.
Yeah, I mean, there was a long debate back there between, you know, a couple of us on whether it was Octane or Scraps. Just kidding. There was one of us who said Octane, and
it wasn't said at this table.
It wasn't said at this table, no, but Scraps, I mean, this guy went through a role swap. He's been playing great in Search and Destroy. He's been averaging, like, double digits. Like, this guy's doing so much for this team, and if he keeps playing at this level, Unilad is going to be a top contender in this division.
And he's got to have one of the better sniper shots as well. I think the consistency that he's been able to output just with the car has been pretty fantastic. Hit markers are not, but makes the roll switch still dominant. Plays in S&D, he's still dominant. Like across all game modes, Scraps has been a monster for quite some time now, and I think it just kind of shows in this one. I mean, there again, leading the charge in Search and Destroy. One of the best players of the week, at least, maybe not throughout both weeks, but guy's been a monster. Earned the rights to the MVP.
And the hype and energy he's bringing to the stage as well is always going to be beneficial for the boys over at Unilad. But now, of course, I do want to take a quick look at our standings. Luminosity, of course, at the top 6-1, right behind them. Team Envious. FaZe Clan, they solidify themselves in 3rd place at 5-2. It's Splyce in a 3-way tie at 3-4, which would currently clinch a playoff spot. EG, Unilad, and E United all behind them. Epsilon, of course, at 0-7, but I think the biggest surprise there has to be E United at 2-5. Joe, I don't think many people would have anticipated that.
No, we talked about that for the past couple of weeks. Just not what we expected. I mean, there's still only 1 game out. If they win a game, they're right back into it. I mean, they have 7 games left, right? That is a ton of time for them. They have Atlanta. That'll help them out. So that's sort of the big thing is Division A will come out. You know, they'll play the rest of their season, but then we'll have Atlanta. So hopefully that helps E United sort of get prepared for their final 2 weeks.
Without being too pessimistic, is there any chance you think where maybe it doesn't actually help them and it could make things worse?
Sure. I mean, I think every game really besides the one yesterday probably did make things worse. Like, they lost, right? Like, they were not winning those matches, and you could tell it was just really just getting at them. Like, they were just getting down. They weren't having fun. They weren't confident in one another, so they have a lot of work to do.
Obviously, we'll be back next week with more Division A games, but there's actually even more Call of Duty esports action tomorrow.